Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Things Politics. Let's get right to it. Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is in the news, and for those who do not know who Nick Fuentes is, we'll give you a brief accounting of who he is. Nick Fuentes is a Mexican American who participates in right-wing or white nationalist activities. His speaking points are geared towards white nationalism. He is anti-Semitic, anti-Black. He is, some would say, a MAGA personality. You know, he pushes for the Donald Trump administration. Most of what he does is for and for the sake of the administration and its policies. He also has issue with the immigration issue that we all see unfolding before us. ICE, Border Patrol, Homeland Security, you know, the Donald Trump administration and what it pushes. Nick Fuentes, what makes this kind of important is that all of a sudden he's saying, or he's disavowing or announcing that he is no longer a white nationalist. Why? I mean, it's anybody's guess. It may be just to get more, likes, build his platform up or whatever the case may be. I think that a lot of what he does is sensationalism, is done to create this sense of sensationalizing, those issues that most people are concerned with. He does it to trivialize these issues and be very dismissive, but to minimize the issues of the people, regardless who those people are. Nick Fuentes' goal is to make them look as though they are beggars, they are unwanted, they are people who are not needed as or in this society or part of society. Again, this guy, I mean, this is rich, man. This guy is something else, to say the least. This guy is something else. But anyway, he says he's no longer a white nationalist. This Mexican American, Nick Fuentes, he's now disavowing white nationalism, racism, and bigotry. I think it's all a ploy, me, myself. I trust nothing he says, But what I wonder about is, so now does that mean that there's no more groypers? This group of people who've, or is given this name or this description to, who support what he support, who supports him and everything he pushes. They're called groypers. So if Nick is saying now that he's no longer a white supremacist, or a white nationalist, does that then mean those who follow him no longer have a podium? Is he also disavowing them? For me, like I said, I think it's just a ploy, something that Nick Fuentes does. Again, this guy, he's a piece of cake. He's a piece of cake. But to help us express what's going on with Nick Fuentes, we have a clip, and this clip is courtesy of, let's see, Secular Talk. All right, we're going to run this clip and let Secular Talk, expose some of what Nick Fuentes is about, what he's been doing, and why he's saying what he's saying. All right. So without further ado, let's get into this piece.
Bro, I swear to God, nobody goes back and forth more than Nick Fuentes. He is the king of going back, forth, okay? And this is a great example of it here. So at the moment, and you're going to see the clip, he basically disavows being a white supremacist. He's like, I'm not, well, maybe not what he said. I think he says white nationalist is what he disavows. So slightly different there, but he says, I don't even think of myself as a white nationalist anymore. And he basically goes after his own audience and calls them idiots and losers. And he's sick of their shit. We've seen him in the past go after his audience. But right now, it seems like more of a breaking point, if you will. So first, let's start with this one. Nick Fuentes watched the Super Bowl halftime show, wasn't offended by it, unlike all the other conservative douchebags who were, ginning up their fake outrage, like Megyn Kelly going full Karen mode and melting down and screaming over fucking nothing. So he was sort of put off by the fake outrage over that, right? And then he watched the TPUSA halftime show, and that's the thing that really put him over the edge into just being embarrassed of being a conservative. Watch this. Here we go.
We can't talk about it without also discussing the Kid Rock thing that was going on somewhere else. What the fuck was that? I mean, if that's the best we have to offer, honestly, I'm switching sides.
You've already switched sides, but I'm looking at this guy, and you could not have told me he wasn't Caucasian. European. Granted, yeah, he's Mexican, and they have European heritage, because of the Spaniards, but you couldn't tell me this guy was a Mexican American, and it's not just his mannerisms or how he speaks or whatever, but just the look of him, wow.
If that's seriously, they said this is the all-American halftime show, God, family, and it's like, okay, if that's the all-American halftime show, I don't know, guys. We're losing them. We got to come up with something better, because that was a tough watch. If it is a requirement to pretend to like that, to be like a patriot, like, I can't do it. I'm just telling you up front. I'm going to be honest with you. Full disclosure, I can't do it. I think I'd rather kill myself than pretend to like that. So you're telling me we're at the Super Bowl party with the normies, with the hoes, with the chuds and the we're at the Super Bowl watch party. We're having our taquitos. We're having our wings, pizza, watching the big game. Everybody's having a good time. You're telling me we have to turn off the TV, or we have to switch the input. We have to go to the Rumble app and watch some AI ad about like alternative medicine. And then we have to watch Kid Rock and this like generic country music. And we have to pretend to like this. We have to all be like, this is really good. She's really good.
I don't get the problem with him. You're talking about he don't like, is he not pretending now? Pretending to be something he's not? Isn't he pretending that everything he supports and is about is actually, better for him and his, what I mean? I think that's a pretend act. Again, I think what Nick Fuentes does, he does for attention. We have a lot of people like that, not just Mexican Americans, but again, this is rich, just listening to this guy, and none of it makes sense. That's the way of the world today. None of anything we see going on makes any sense. Until you peel back the layers, you start digging deep, to the flesh of things, then you get to the bone. We finally see what it's all about. And Nick Fuentes is no different from anything or anybody else. We'll get to it, he will be exposed.
I'm not doing it. I can't do it. It sucks. And, not for nothing. Didn't we do this for the RNC? Isn't this just like our token celebrity? Didn't Kid Rock play the RNC? It's just like a freak show. It's like Amber Rose was there last year at the 2 years ago at the RNC.
Which, by the way, this is what the right does. If there's any celebrity who's left of center, who says some left of center shit, it's the Laura Ingraham classic. Hey, shut up and dribble, LeBron. You said some political shit. Shut up and dribble, right? The second there's anybody right of center who's a celebrity, oh my God, they come themselves. Like, yes, we got one. Yes, we love you so much. Thank you for joining us. Ronald Reagan was a shitty actor. Donald Trump was a shitty reality star. So they berate the left for being in tight with celebrities. Y'all motherfuckers elected 2 celebrities, both Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump. Okay? And then, that it's slim pickings too on the right these days in terms of their, they got like washed up stars from the fucking mid 90s that they trot out. That they say, please give us something that we can hold on to when it comes to support of us. And like Nick is saying, you got Kid Rock doing his thing. You got some country stars nobody ever fucking heard of doing their thing. Who's the what's the guy's name? I'm blanking on his name, but the dad of Angelina Jolie, who's also an actor, and he's just like, he's mentally.
John Foyt, I think his name is John Foyt. Staunch Republican. Staunch Republican.
He's just cooked. I mean, that dude, straight barbecue chicken brain, bro. I forget dude's name, but he's a well-known actor. And they trot him out all the time, even though he's like 86. He doesn't know where the fuck he is. Clint Eastwood, they have Clint Eastwood in a monologue with a chair, acting like, oh, we sure own those libs, bro. No, it's a stupid, pathetic double standard. But by the way, I'm willing to make the agreement. You want to keep, hey, we'll keep the left-wing celebrities, get them out of the way. Right-wing celebrities, get them out of the way. Let's just do straight, serious man, political people, right? I'm willing to do that. But if we're going to open up the door to political people, then the right can't bitch when the left just has better, more well-known celebrities who like left-wing policies better. Like you can't get mad. And that's the thing is like they're salty that we get like LeBron James, for example. They're salty about that because they have nobody to counter that, right? Like again, who are they going to trot out? The fucking dude who played Hercules in 1997? Like nobody gives a fuck about that guy.
And I'm watching the show. I actually watch it this afternoon, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of like maybe a section of what we're about that is kind of going away, and maybe there's no bringing it back. I don't know. Is there anything kind of worth hanging on to there? It's kind of a rough thing.
All right, he's not done yet. Now he's going to start to berate his audience.
Even if you enjoyed it, I was hopeful you'd better articulate why a Latin halftime show celebrating their culture was unacceptable for an American sporting event as iconic as the Super Bowl.
I thought you were going to tell me something I already thought. I wanted to hear my opinion reinforced.
The Super Bowl is in America. We mean England in America. Good point. Good point. I've heard this opinion 10,000 times this weekend, but I wanted to hear you say it harder. That's why I hate you. That's why I hate you people.
He really does. He really hates his own audience. In the same way that the I've Had It podcast ladies talk about how Trump is an old queen, that like in his heart of hearts, he just wishes he was like directing a Broadway show, right? Nick Fuentes, deep down, it's almost like a sad theater kid, right? Like he chose this other route and he's like, oh, I fucking hate all these people I'm in league with now. God damn it. God damn it. I want to be in fucking West Hollywood in assless chaps in a bar with people who actually think like I do. There's a tinge of that in here, isn't it?
I don't like ugly, stupid freaks. I don't like ugly, stupid freaks. Here's why I don't like you people. Because, so the Super Bowl halftime shows in Spanish. Stop the presses. Call the National Guard.
But I will say, though, Nick, you courted an audience of fucking white nationalists and white supremacists and people who like edgy shit about Hitler and like they're super far right. Did you expect them to like the halftime show in Spanish? Like that's where like I honestly, my take on it is your run-of-the-mill conservatives are faking their outrage. They don't actually care. They're just like the Daily Wire idiots don't actually care. They're just like, going through the motions of, oh yeah, we're outraged. They're outraged by every fucking halftime show every year. But that's what they're doing. But the actual white nationalists, like the actual racists, of which there are many in Nick Fuentes' audience, that's his whole fucking audience, right? Did you expect them to like that the whole thing was in Spanish? Of course they weren't going to fucking like it, right? But I guess from Nick's perspective, he goes, I'm not just going to give you the thing you expect me to say. Like, I don't want to just say the thing that you want me to say. I'm not your puppet. I'm not going to dance for you, right? Like, I guess that's what he's thinking. But like, Nick, of course your fucking audience hates the all Spanish Super Bowl halftime show. They're all racist. That's like the point of your show.
Everybody is saying exactly the same thing. Spanish, it should be in English. The fuck? The country speaks English. The song should be in English. And okay. So we've all heard that. We all sort of agree. Okay. We all kind of agree. We've all heard that. Everybody tune into the show because they want to hear me say it, though. We all sort of agree. We've all heard that. And you want to tune into the show to hear me say it?
Whoa. What are those?
The laptops for the new hires. We need to ship them out.
The show should be in English. I think if the show's in Spanish, that's not English. The show should be in English. And why? Why do you want to? You want to get up on the coffee table? Yeah, the show should be in English. I mean, like, why?
I think Nick Fuentes is one of the worst people on social media. Just looking at this piece right here, and he did this, I think, yesterday, day before. This guy is probably could be labeled one of the worst traitors of his kind. You know, he's one of the problems that his people, Mexican Americans, are facing, especially when we're talking about or dealing with the Trump administration and their policy about immigration. This is a guy that helps promote that. You know what I mean? He's just so phony. Again, what is his angle? What is his angle? Is it to get more, likes, subscriptions, and, subs, whatever? If that's the case, then I think that, dealing with Nick Fuentes is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. And again, those people, they don't care who is willing to get up there and bash their own kind, as long as they're willing to get up there and make the other side look good, as opposed to their side, keeping it in, this frame of mind that they're bad, that everything they do is un-American. You know what I mean? Nick Fuentes is a waste of time. I got hold of this piece, and I've heard about Nick Fuentes and his politics. Again, his antics, I think, are just things he says and does for attention. It could also be that he says and does these things because he's hired to do so. Again, you couldn't have told me he was a Mexican American. But here's one of these individuals that, go along with the Trump administration and their policies, and people of his descent, Mexican Americans, they're angry at everybody but the right people. Nick Fuentes. You should be mad at Nick Fuentes. He's just one of many who have put this burden on the immigrant population, or, most Mexican Americans are really upset about what's going on in terms of Border Patrol, ICE, DHS, Trump administration. Nick Fuentes is somebody y'all need to be upset with. Just looking at this piece says it. It says it. And then for him to say, I don't like, white nationalists anymore.
I don't know. It's just so low IQ. I have been doing this for long enough in my life that I'm just sick of, I'm just tired of it. I'm sick.
He just hates his audience so much
of it. You want me to get, so everybody could get up out of their recliner chair. You can get your fat ass up off the chair. Yeah. Whatever. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about any of it?
And that's that piece on Nick Fuentes. Again, I'm like, okay, I think the news in this, or what can be taken from this, is that, for those who are upset at other segments of society because they feel as if, or think as though, they're not being assisted enough with this campaign against them and, the immigration policies that seem to be spilling over to those who are supposedly legally here, as opposed to those who they're supposed to be going after, who are legally here and committing crimes. Look, there's your issue. There's your problem, or that's part of your problem. This is someone you should be addressing, should be asking him, hey, what's going on with you? Why are you a part of this, or why are you catering to these policies in this system of white nationalism or white supremacy? You're doing us, Mexican Americans, a disservice. That's where that focus should be, on individuals like this, as well as the policies, the policies for sure, of course, but individuals like this and others like him who support said policies or extremes. Nick Fuentes should be your guy, you guys' guy, he is the one you should be focused on. Canceling, if such a thing even occur anymore. Okay. That being said, again, Nick Fuentes has I didn't see it in that piece. Might be a little bit misleading, but he's denouncing white nationalism / white supremacy, and is professing that they're stupid, they're idiots. None of it makes any sense, you know? Okay. Good for Nick Fuentes. Bad for those who don't see the necessity of dealing with Nick Fuentes head on, because he is part of you guys' problem. Okay, that being said, this is All Things Politics 26. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We appreciate your viewership and participation. It means a lot to us in the sense that because of your subscriptions, your viewership, we can dig deep, find more informative information and educational issues to bring to the people to help them get a grasp, have a better look on what's going on in the world of politics and our society. So that being said, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.